What's going on, guys? So today we're actually going to go through and start our next project. Like I mentioned in the last video, we're going to actually go through and take off the front end. We got to start with the wheel wells themselves. Got to take those inserts out on both sides. We're going to start on the driver's side because I do have the best lighting over here for you guys to be able to see. We're also going to light up the floor with one of our fluorescents, and then we're going to get that process started. So we will be right back. Okay, so obviously we're down here now. Now basically for this specific model, there is going to end up being 3 over here. There is some underneath of here as well, which because I have a custom front end on there, it's actually different than stock. So that one there is going to be obviously dependent on your model. There is 2 push clips in here up on the top. There is actually one on the back, one up over here, and then there's also to hold the back side in over here, which I'm not sure if you can see it right now or not, but the back side over here, because I do have this splash guard on here, it does have a total of 4 bolts that I have to actually go through and take out as well. Now with this front end, I'm more than likely going to be switching these specific ones out, these bolts. They are the factory ones. Well, yeah, they are the factory ones. I'm going to probably switch them out because I do want to use the new kit that we got, just to have everything uniform, and then when I actually redo, not really redo, but fix up the front end, we're going to go through and customize the bolts that are underneath of there as well. So everything's going to be changing from stock for what we're going to be doing. So we're going to get that process started and we will be right back. Okay, so we have gone through and gotten tools that we're going to end up needing. We're going to end up needing specifically for this side over here a 7mm socket. These are not tight. That's primarily why I want to go through and switch everything across, because the bolts that I'm using here are not the ones that are meant for this front end. The front end came with basically mismatched U-clips like we bought in that kit, which is why I want to go through and get this done, which obviously you can see it's so loose that I can take it off basically just without any pressure. It's ridiculous. So we're going to actually go through it. We're going to set these aside. I mean, we might end up using them for a different project. I might be able to find the right U-clips that we were referencing. But as of right now, that's not what I need my tooler. So I've got the clip puller here now, which we're going to go through and take those clips out, and then finally we're going to go through and get that splash guard removed there. So I'm going to pause it here and get that done. Okay, so we've got all of the clips and bolts and everything taken off from this outside part here. This front part, however, because of this basically falling apart on me in the past, it's not bolted to the front, it's actually zip tied. So I'm going to have to get some, I'm going to grab the scissors real quick so I can take that apart, and then you guys can see the inside of the car right there. So be right back. Okay, so I got some scissors. Got one zip tie. Now I did actually go through and use big zip ties. As you can see, that's what I had on hand at the time, and they definitely did the best for what we needed. So let me reach in here real quick. Another one. So now this whole piece will come out. Now this is an aftermarket one. I am looking at purchasing the new OEM ones, which are actually going to be a lot better quality as well. Obviously we got to go through and do a little bit of cable management and all that stuff too, which I'll get that done here a little bit later. But the cool thing with this is this kit, or the front end that I did, it's actually from Icon Motorsports. It is a 5th gen Camaro, which is what Sylvia is, to a 6th gen conversion kit. That's why it has a different front end appearance to it. So the kit I did go through and fashion in these LED side markers are actually just basically LED strip line, which looks awesome. You can see those in some pictures as we go forward and get everything redone, because obviously once we get everything completely done, we'll go through and do a final tour. But right now I'm going to go through and switch to the other side and get that done, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so this is the passenger side after I got the wheel well out. I am gonna obviously I was already planning on doing some cable management and all that stuff too, but I'm gonna actually go through and clean up all these lines in general, take out these little push pin connectors and all that stuff too, because I just want to clean this whole thing up and make it completely 100% professional rather than quick and easy like I did originally when I put all this stuff together. But we've got this all taken apart. The only thing that I gotta go through and do now is to basically disconnect the front portion here, and then also go through and undo all the bolts from up top, so this way this whole thing will actually slide off. There's actually pins that lock into the fender itself to hold the front fascia to the car, which is actually pretty ingenious on how they went through and did it. But I'm gonna have to go through and get that done. Not to mention that from the manufacturer, this did not come secured to this here. I already have the materials to do that, which is basically just some JB weld. I gotta go through and get that cleaned up and actually attached to it. The reason that this never got done is because I had a car show, which was Hot Wheels car show, and I just had gotten this back from paint, which you can see in one of the previous videos, and did not have time to sit here and dink with all that stuff because I had like maybe 1 to 2 days tops to get everything all put back together, while also still having to work. So I got that all put on, went to the show. That was a lot of fun. And now we get to clean everything up. So obviously I'm gonna have to go through and get all the dirt and everything else from, which I don't understand how it got up inside of this, but it did. We're gonna clean all this stuff up, make it look 100 times better once we're all said and done. So we're gonna go up top, get all this front part taken off, and we'll be right back. Okay, so at this point we've already got all the bolts taken off of the side, underneath, and then for this kit here, because it does have the DRLs, which are the daytime running lights, basically when you start the car, it's the white down at the bottom. There is signal, because they're actually a two-way, there's signal wires that come off of the turn signals themselves, to where I have the original turn signals as well as the DRLs that switch to amber when the turn signals actually get turned on. So I cut those wires because originally I just had them spliced in together because again I was in a hurry. I'm going to go through and do this right and actually get individual pull connectors, so this way I can actually go through, and if I have to take the front end off again, I can just disconnect them. I don't have to worry about wiring or anything like that. So we got that separated, so now I should be able to separate the whole front end. Okay, so now this is done. And like an idiot, I just remembered that there's 2 bolts underneath that I need to also undo, or at least the top parts all taken care of. So I'm going to crawl underneath the car and get those 2 bolts, which those 2 bolts are actually holding the whole bottom section to the frame itself. So I forgot 2 bolts. So we're going to get that done right now. I'm going to pause it and be right back. Okay, so now I got those 2 bolts out. Now the whole thing will come off. Okay, so the passenger side was just hung up on a plastic clip, and now the whole thing can just come off. So it looks like I do have one wire connector, which I gotta go through and clip off that had strapped up before. Okay, so got that. That should just come apart from there. Okay, so I'm gonna climb back underneath here again and figure that out. So I'll be right back again. Okay, finally. The whole front end is separated. And we're gonna put this over here just to keep it safe. Obviously we're gonna be doing some work to it here as well, just to get all the wiring all prepped and then some other stuff. Now I'm gonna go through and grab the tripod here. Give you guys a little bit of a tour. Drop you down. Okay, so this is the front end here. Okay, so let me grab my other lights. I'm hitting everything here, sorry about that. So, just to go through and point out what we were talking about the other day about the oil cooler and everything else, these are the 2 bolt holes that we were referencing that we're going to be able to go through, and we should be able to mount our oil cooler here. The oil cooler itself should be roughly about yay big. Not very big, but because of how everything is lined up, because obviously we're going to have to run lines from the side of the motor up to an external filter and then down into the oil cooler itself, it'll drop it down quite a bit, especially for quick runs and stuff like that. So we got that. And then for the front bar here, I did actually go through and I actually hand cut this out myself. This is actually black vinyl over the original crash bar. I am going to go through and take off the vinyl itself. I'm going to do a re-stencil again. And with the re-stencil itself, I'm actually going to go through and do paint because I want it to be permanent. Having this vinyl on here underneath, it is very fragile when it comes to washing the car, especially with a pressure washer. I have had some issues popping holes into the holes that are underneath for mounting points and everything else. There's actually bolts underneath, and these cutouts here are to obviously access those bolts. So we've got that, and then bring the light up here. There is actually also a different piece that I can go through and redirect cold air from the outside of the car down to the brakes, as well as up to the cold air intake itself. I'm thinking about getting that kit. I don't know yet. I might make one myself as well. Sorry about that, the lights are being finicky. So, a lot of customization options with this car. It's very, very simple. There's not a whole lot to it. Obviously, you can see underneath of it. The latch is right here for the hood release. This is just a core support to hold everything in place, because this is actually where that front piece actually bolts into or clips into. And then, yeah, anyways, that's Sylvia. You get to see her up close and personal. All nice and clean up here though. Got everything all refreshed up here. We're just waiting on the nice paint, or the nice parts to come in that are currently being powder coated. Still got to go through and redo the wire loom on that. That's not going to be a problem though, because right underneath of the wire you can kind of see right there, that is the oil filter that's going to be coming off to put in the remote lines. So by taking that out, it'll give us a lot better access to the wiring to get that redone. And then for the color shift halos, this is the top view. I do actually have a switch here, right here, that is actually allowing us to turn the front LEDs on and off, whether the car is on or off, so it gives us full control there. And then there's the Wi-Fi controller that's underneath there. So I'm probably going to relocate them and somehow fashion it to where I can put them inside of the fuse box here. There's not a whole lot of room in the fuse box though, just to give you guys a view of what that looks like. Not a whole lot of room in there. I might be able to go through and, because this whole section is pretty much blanks in here, I might be able to do something about that, but I don't know yet. I'm gonna have to go through and figure this out. But you guys can see that part. And then this is the actual, I believe that's for the brake lines. Yeah, that's the brake line. So that's that right there. Oh, right there. Sorry, the camera wasn't right. That's actually what the line lock would tap into, to where you can lock the front tires individual from the rear tires. So this way, when you actually want to sit there and do a burnout without any effort, just to heat the tires for racing or whatever, that's where that would tap into. So all those are, these would just unscrew with a wrench. And it looks like they're actually marked too. Yes, they are. They're actually marked into that metal. Very cool. So that'll make it a lot easier to install the line lock. So we're going to go through and clean everything up. get it all restored, and we'll do all that in a later video. So let's flip back around. We'll be right back. Okay, so obviously we have the front end already all taken off. We've got the wheel wells taken out. We've got everything prepped to where we have full access for everything that we're going to need to do. So at this point, we're just waiting to get all the parts and the supplies and all that stuff that we're going to actually need to get that process done. So other than that, like I said, we're going to wrap the video here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining Double SBC Garage. We are obviously trying to extend the channel, so if you guys could do me a favor again, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell for all the notifications. Like I said in the previous videos, I do want to grow it to where I can start helping my subscribers. I want to start helping the community. I want to expand our projects and all that stuff. So there has been some changes to YouTube as of 21. With that being said, we have to have 4,000 hours of watch time in one consecutive year. And then we do also have to have the 1,000 subscribers as well. And obviously that makes more sense because of everybody being at home. They're watching a lot more YouTube and stuff like that. It's kind of going to make it a little harder for us to do, but we are on track for at least the watch time. We just need to get the subscriber count up. So if you guys like what we do on the channel, please subscribe. Tell everybody that you know. Let's go through and get this process up. So anyways, you guys have a good day. We will talk later.